Heroes Like Us is a series intended at sharing comic book characters from various backgrounds and identities. We won't always get everything right, so feel free to make amendments and corrections in the comments. They're always appreciated. What's not appreciated, however, is any form of hate speech or intolerance, so comments of that nature will be immediately deleted and those users blocked from this channel. This is a place of education and celebration. Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic, and welcome to our series, Heroes Like Us. This is a series where we look at certain identities, and we look at comic book characters that have those identities. Today we are doing our second video about Jewish characters. So we already covered a part 1, which you can find down in the description, or you can start right here with part 2. There's no order to these. You can watch this one and then go back. So today we're going to cover a handful. We're going to cover some DC characters, some Marvel characters, and some indie comic characters if we feel like supporting smaller artists. So let's dive in. Up first, we've got Moon Knight. A lot of you might be familiar with Moon Knight now, following his Marvel Studios debut in his own series starring Oscar Isaac. The character has dissociative identity disorder and has quite a few personalities or alters that come and go. The original character, the true identity, is Mark Spector, who grew up as the son of a rabbi and witnessed another rabbi friend of the family who turned out to be a Nazi deserter in disguise. This traumatic event is believed to be what caused his personas to appear. Eventually, Mark was gifted some supernatural abilities as a champion for the Egyptian deity Khonshu, which is where he took on the mantle of Moon Knight. We move on to another Marvel character, Sabra, whose real name is Ruth Bat-Seraph. She is a mutant born in Israel whose powers include incredible strength, stamina, speed, as well as a unique ability to heal and enhance others with powers, granting superpowers to potentially normal people. She's done this on a few occasions to save folks from death. The powers she gives them seems to be random, such as enhancing a woman with wind abilities, who then took on the name Windstorm. They keep these powers, but Sabra could choose to retrieve her energy back from them. While someone else has them, her own superpowers seem lessened, so there's a cost to lending power this way. While in Israel, Sabra served in the Israeli Secret Service and as a policewoman in Tel Aviv. As a mutant, she's appeared in various mutant-related teams. I want to transition now to an indie title called The Unfinished Corner. This story follows a 12-year-old girl named Miriam who's questioning her faith as she prepares for her bat mitzvah, when she's suddenly swept off to a magical land with a few of her friends in tow. This land, called the Unfinished Corner, is believed in Jewish mythology to be exactly as the name describes, a land that God hasn't yet finished. And he just might be calling on Miriam to help him do that. If you want to support indie titles and this sounds like an interesting read, check out the description below for details on how to find this book. We transition back to Marvel with Sasquatch, Walter Lankowski. A prominent member of the team Alpha Flight and based out of Canada, Walter was a gamma radiation scientist, trying to replicate what created the Hulk, but in a more controlled way. This resulted in Walter transforming into the creature known as Sasquatch, a burly and incredibly strong warrior. There aren't a lot of in-comic references to Walter's religion, but enough to definitely include him here. We move briefly to DC Comics for one half of the superhero Firestorm, Martin Stein. I say one half because Firestorm is literally a composite of two people, the physicist Martin Stein and a high school student named Ronnie Raymond, who eventually became a student under Stein. These two could merge into one being, with the ability to control matter, such as changing density, absorbing elements, and molecular reconstruction. The powers list for Firestorm is very long. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Stein and Ronnie both were featured in the CW universe, with Stein being portrayed by Victor Garber. And lastly for this video, Magneto from Marvel Comics. Now I made a point to not include Magneto in part 1, focusing on Jewish characters, because he isn't still practicing, but enough folks were passionate about his inclusion that I wanted to do that here. Born with the name Max, Magneto was raised in Germany in a Jewish family, moving to Poland right before the start of World War II. They were captured and Max was kept for a few years in a camp in Auschwitz before eventually escaping. It was here that he formed a new identity, taking on the name Eric Lencher. He spent time in Israel at a hospital for Holocaust survivors, where he met Charles Xavier, and the two of them became forever intertwined in each other's lives. And that is it for this video. So another handful of Jewish characters. Hopefully they sound interesting. And remember to head down to the description if you want to find out more about the Unfinished Corner. So thank you for watching. If you think of other characters we missed in part 1 and part 2 and we still haven't covered them, let me know in the description. I always want to do more of these. It is just a struggle sometimes to find enough characters, and characters that have interesting backstories, decent pictures I can show, things like that. So let me know if you think of any. And that is it for this time. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.